All right, what's up? Tim Sykes here. Pre-market video. Way too much going on. I'm filming this around 6:30 in the morning. There's so many plays. I'm sorry. So many people are asking me questions right now. I can't get to all of you. It's just insane right now. GME, awesome, awesome, awesome run up. AMC, sympathy play down a little bit today, but was already up. Frankly, awesome uh, spike last night after hours. I'm here in Europe, which is good for me pre-market because I'm 6 hours ahead. But frankly, I missed some excellent trading last night. I went to bed around midnight, which is like 6 p.m. Eastern, and really there were fireworks in the stock market around 6:30 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, right up until the close, and this is the market right now. I know some people are like, hey, Tim, I can't trade after hours. I can't trade pre-market. You got to just do what you got to do, right? But it's up to you to capitalize on the market. The market is going to do its thing. You need to be prepared. You need to have the right resources. You need to have the right brokers. You need to have the right knowledge. And then you can truly capitalize on, specifically these plays that are really just spiking so much. I got to give massive props to David Hanlon. He is here in Italy with me. He's not only the MVP of our group, eating the most, which is crazy because he's like really thin, but like I call him the MVP because he ate the most over the past few days. And he has timed his sleep schedule around trading. And it's actually kind of funny. He's here with his wife, and they're, sightseeing everywhere too. I think he's at like the Leaning Tower of Pisa right now and trying to trade today. But locked in 80,000 last night. And I just got to give him props. I was asleep. I sold my FFIE too soon. This was a good trade for me. Like I was like falling asleep as I was doing it. I was buying it into the close. 54. Shout out to Jack Kellogg. He nailed it from 54. I'll post a link to Jack's alerts. I really think every single one of you should get this. He's not just, one of my students turned like master traders. He is more patient than me. And so like we can do the same kinds of trades, but he often sizes in more and he has more patience. And that's why he's made basically double what I've made in like a third of the time. And I love it. I'm not angry that he's made more. I'm never angry when students make more than me, or anybody makes more than me. I want you guys to do better. I got into teaching knowing that, okay, $2,000, this is nice. This is like really like normal for me actually. Over 20 plus years, my average trading profit is 1,500, 2,000. And yeah, I'm up 150K year to date. That's nice. But many people are up more. Jack now, I don't know how much he's made on FFIE, but FFIE, he was buying it at 54 and it went all the way up to, what was the high? Wow. I didn't even know. I was going to say it went up to 70. It went up to 80 cents. So this was last night at 7 p.m., which was roughly 2 a.m. here, and I was asleep. So I missed this nice supernova run up. I think Jack sold into the 70s and then like he went to the Celtics game and watched his team win. So shout out to Jack. I'll post a link to this, I think that you should learn from me. I think you should learn from Jack. I think that you should use every resource at your disposal to capture these plays. And oh wait, David just texted me. Hold on. Let's see what he just sent me. David literally just texted me this because he's trying to trade while on a bus. And he sent me this. He's going to be pissed that I'm showing you this, but this is what happens. I'm filming, videos real time. He's nauseous on a bus right now. Look at his little sticker. He's on like a tour of like Pisa and he's trying to trade on a bus while getting nauseous. It's really funny because even like yesterday I was giving a challenge webinar and I was talking about Tim Grittani's biggest loss from a decade ago on Lake, and Tim Grittani is now back in the challenge chat and he popped in and he was like, literally he hasn't been to one of my challenge webinars in years, and then he was just like, oh, let me see Tim Sykes's webinar, and then I was talking about his biggest loss and he was like, what the hell? Sorry, I'm like all over the place. I'm talking about David, I'm talking about Jack, I'm talking about Tim Grittani, all multimillionaires, all good guys. Long story short, the market is insane. You need to capitalize. Shout out to Jack. for trying to help me with FFIE. It was my bad for going to bed too early. But it is fading a little bit now. So I wasn't on the wrong track. I literally couldn't stay awake. So you guys tell me, do you like trading pre-market, at the open, near the open, midday, afternoon, or after hours? Because every single time right now is on fire with GME, with AMC. Hollow was spiking just a little bit ago. VERO is spiking. Like, there's plays galore. And this is the thing. If you ever lose on a play, like yesterday, I was basically break even with SHOT, thought it was going to spike, didn't, okay, $100 profit. VRAX thought it was going to really squeeze, didn't, okay, $100 loss. All it takes is one good trade to wipe away any small gains or small losses. So even though, yeah, FFIE in hindsight, I sold way too early, I was passing out as I was doing this trade. So I don't recommend doing a trade when like you're half awake. Obviously, in hindsight, I probably should have just held. I should have, held overnight, like I think Jack is doing. And Jack probably is making six figures on FFIE. But you got to do what's right for you. And I have severe sleep deprivation sometimes, just with my crazy schedule. And I'm happy just to show you, that you can still profit even while being busy, even while being conservative. And I got to show you some of my other students. It's actually pretty cool, not just with like David, like this is amazing what he's done. He's also just passed 4 million. The other day I got did I post my video? I think I posted my video on Instagram, not on Twitter. Too many social networks too. But for him to make $80,000 in a day, in a night, it's pretty cool. And then also some other students, Jack Kellogg, I got to thank him for FFIE. I'm sorry I passed out. But Bonk Rock Trades made 10K on ASNS. Like, this is the thing. I want you guys to understand. Some people are like, Tim, I can't trade at this time. I prefer this time. Whatever works for you, right? I don't choose when the plays are going to spike. You can't choose. All you can try to do is capitalize. And ASNS spiked big from, this was at 4 a.m., 4:05 a.m., and the high was 4:20 a.m., okay? Like, this is stupid times, but this is what's working right now. The high was 4:24 a.m. Eastern. So you literally could have bought this stock in the ones and flipped it in the sixes 20 minutes, 15 minutes later if you were up. And this is the thing that's been running lately, like 4 or 5 a.m. runners. Like, it's stupid. That's just the market right now. So, like Jack and I did this whole presentation just the other day, and I'll post a link to this, but like we're talking about how there's a 7-figure cycle on right now. People didn't believe it. People are like, no, the IWM has been weak. We're like, like interest rates are going to come down. The seasonality is really a thing where, small caps have underperformed lately, but now with lowering interest rates in the next few months, along with the election cycle, along with the bull market, along with technology, like this is the time to really push it. Okay. So whether you're up at 4 a.m. or not, the plays are going to spike. Okay. You just try to be there for it and you try to see it. And props to, where was it? Bonk Rock Trades, making 10 grand literally overnight. I don't want you to think that like it's going to happen every day and that it's just so easy, but it is possible. Okay. As more and more of my students are showing, like Sabrina, we have all these female traders now in the challenge. Sabrina, Sharon, Karina, Lily. There was another girl who just banked last night while I was giving the webinar. So much opportunity, so many plays. And if you're not prepared, if you don't have the right tools, if you don't have the right mindset, if you haven't studied the past, like there's no way you're going to catch these. There's just no way. Okay. Sabrina in NVVE in at 70 cents, out at 102, in on back in again, 128 out at 161, XTIA 108 to 130. And by the way, these plays, like you have to ride them on the way up, but do not overstay. Do not HODL. I don't care if it's working with GME. Not every play is, being pumped by Roaring Kitty. This was NVVE, and it was basically goes from, this was at 8:30 in the morning. This was a pre-market runner, 55 cents up to $1.70. and this is in the first 2 hours. So you can triple your money, but if you hodl or if you stay too long, look at it, it's right back down. Same thing with, what was the other play that Sabrina had? Oh, XTIA. And XTIA, I banked on the breaking news where they have this vertical liftoff on their airplanes, and they got a big contract. I think, what was it, for like 200 planes? Details, I can't even bring it up. Was it this one? I don't know. But it spiked really big and really fast. And you could have caught it. Stocks to trade breaking news nailed it. All I did was use stocks to trade breaking news, and the thing went from, 160 up to the threes. I didn't time it perfectly. Let me show you this. And I was trying to dip by it, and it wouldn't bounce. But this was a beautiful $1,000 profit that any single one of you could have taken. And I bought this at 230 and I flipped it 1,500 shares. Okay? And I flipped it at 298. I didn't know I was selling perfectly. Usually I sell too soon, but I was just in a rush too. So I was like, okay, let me just lock it in. You can sell along the way. This was, it was 100. Pre-order for 100 of their aircraft, not 200. Sorry. But, pretty cool. But then look at it. It spikes on news, but then guess what? They need cash. So any big contract is going to be followed with like probably a toxic financing or the hope of a toxic financing or warrants, or, all these companies are failing. So you can't stay too long. You really got to be selective. Like SYTA, this was a nice $2,000 profit for me. And by the way, a lot of people are asking me this. I got to explain this too. I'm going to try to answer questions, but I'll also post a link to my challenge. That's where I do full Q&A. This is just me trying to answer a few questions, but I get overwhelmed with so many questions. I'm talking fast because I've had 2 double cappuccinos. I'm just trying to keep up. But SYTA was a beautiful, beautiful spiker. I missed it, okay? So some people say Tim, when do you, add to a position? When do you cut losses? How do you know? It was spiking on this new contract news, but I didn't get a good fill because I was trying to buy it initially at 2 on the spike. I missed it at 2. I missed it at 210, and I eventually paid up to 226 because, again, these contract runners are spiking faster than I can handle sometimes. And I only work on one laptop. So I got in at 226, but I knew that it was a bad entry. So I only got a partial fill. Then it came down back to where I initially wanted it, in the low 2s. And so for me, normally if I'm buying a spiker, if I'm buying something and it doesn't keep spiking, I cut losses. But this one was different because I knew that I wasn't in at a great spot, and I don't normally like chasing. So when it came back down to the initial level that I really wanted it, I added. Normally I won't add to a loser, but again, breaking news, sometimes you get that initial spike, you get a 5, 10, 15 percent drawdown, like a little consolidation, and then it spikes back to the highs. And that's exactly what happened with SYTA. This was all pre-market. This was all within 30 minutes. But the cool thing is, I got the position that I wanted, and I got my average to 215. Not ideal, but then within a few minutes later, I sold it into this spike here in the 240s. And it actually hit the 260s after I sold, but I don't care. Okay, this was all pre-market. This was all around 7 a.m. Some people are like, Tim, I can't trade pre-market. That's on you. Okay, I don't choose when these contracts are. I don't choose when the spikes are. In this hot market, the more you're prepared, whether it's pre-market at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or even after hours, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., that's how you capitalize on this crazy market, okay? So I was ready with SYTA because it's pre-market, which is easier here from Europe, but I missed out on FFIE and GME and AMC's big squeeze last night because it was 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So I'm not perfect either. I just want you to have the proper perspective. You can trade an hour a day. You can trade an hour a week. I have some people being like, Tim, you can't do this part-time. Yes, you can, okay? Everyone is different. There's opportunities galore all the freaking time. If you want to be a dedicated student, if you want to be a dedicated trader, if you want to have no life, you can sit in front of your laptop 24/7 and try to make money. And you'll probably, burn out, FYI. A lot of people who try too hard because then they're start seeing patterns that aren't there. But I encourage you to just try to see these plays in real time. And stock to trade breaking news helps. The challenge chat room helps. And now we have, new tools, like if you want to be more patient, like Jack Kellogg, where he helps. And he nailed FFIE last night. He also nailed FFIE. A lot of people are like, oh, like you didn't see FFIE. Jack was buying FFIE at 6 cents. 6 cents. Okay. He also lost a lot, shorting it because he's also a short seller and he was shorting it too early. He lost $500,000 shorting it, but he also made 6 figures buying it. And now he's rebuying it. So I don't recommend short selling for newbies. I think it's very dangerous. Even my top students literally are losing 6 figures sometimes on these plays. Whoa, GME is cracking as I'm filming this. This is the thing. You can't just HODL, guys. Okay. You can't expect too much. I don't know if Roaring Kitty just sold. He's got his live stream tonight. Something definitely just happened. Hold on. Let me check. All right. So GME literally just reported earnings earlier than expected, and they're also going to do an offering. So it's literally cracking this second. So I'm actually really glad that I'm filming right now because I know a lot of people were HODLing. Right now, this is 6:46 a.m. Eastern. I guarantee you 99% of the people who have this are sleeping or not watching it close enough. And they were waiting on Roaring Kitty to, live stream tonight. This is actually fascinating. Okay. Live stream, again, tonight for me, but it's really, Roaring Kitty is going live in 6 hours. So I don't know if this busts his thesis. I don't know if this is going to lure in some, overly aggressive shorts and lead to a bigger squeeze later. I have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't think anybody should have a bias, but it's actually fascinating that this is happening as I'm doing this. And my whole thesis was try to be there for the big plays and lock it in. So FFIE, FYI, FF, yeah, that's funny in my head. This one is tanking. So it's right back to where I sold it at 59 cents. So there was a lot of upside, but if you weren't up at 6, if you weren't trading at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern, or anytime before 6:45 a.m. Eastern, it's pretty much right where I sold it, which is kind of crazy, full round trip. But that's what's going on in this market right now. You got to lock in those gains. You can't just HODL. Okay, GME is bouncing a little bit. I don't even want to be tempted to trade it right now. I don't know what's going to happen. All of this stuff is very, very crazy. So while I'm proud of Jack, I think he did lock in his FFIEs. I think I saw an alert he was selling it at 77 or 78. So he got a much better exit than I did. Bonk Rock nailed, ASNS, locked in the profits. Sabrina locked in her profits. Chris Shunk, by the way, he's here with me and he's trading at dinner. Look at this. This was his ASNS trade. And he's we're literally at dinner and he brings his laptop. And I think he made I want to say 8 or 9,000 on that one. Also, don't feel bad if you're not making thousands or tens of thousands. Here's Justin making $600. That's fine. Or $556. He said didn't make the $600 mark. That's fine. Okay. I show you big traders. I show you small traders. It all adds up eventually. Never forget that, David started with a few thousand. Jack started with a few thousand. I started with a few thousand. Tim Grattani started with a few thousand. And it's not like we win, all the time or in the beginning. Jack Kellogg lost roughly 10,000 his first 18 months, but he kept learning and kept studying. And then, I show you screenshots like this to help you understand what's possible later on. Okay. This is much later on. I think David has been trading 5-6 years, and it's not even that far, but it's it's several years in with a lot of experience. I wouldn't, trade while traveling. I wouldn't be aggressive just randomly. You got to study. And the reason why I bring up all these plays is because I want you to see the potential. I want you to see the students, the guys and the girls, the few $100, the few thousand, the 6-figure days. I was at dinner the other night with Lucas and he made 7 figures while at dinner. Okay. Most people never make 7 figures in their entire life. And Lucas, Short Bear, literally made $1 million plus at dinner. And then he ordered 2 delicious bottles of wine. So I was very happy to be there at dinner with him. But it's just crazy, the upside. I got to go focus. I actually have to say goodbye to one of my students, Roy. I think his taxi is coming in 10 minutes. So I got to go say goodbye to him. He's another one of my millionaire students here. What a market, guys. I'll see you in chat. drink extra coffee. I hope you're getting sleep because today, next week, it's going to be crazy. This is the time. I know it's summertime. People want to like lay off trading and like, have fun in the summer. But when the market is hot, you got to capitalize. Congrats to David, Jack, Sabrina, Karina, Lily, Sharon, so many more of you. I can't even keep up. It's a good problem to have. I'll see you in chat.